Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're looking at something you probably do without a second thought. The handshake. It seems so simple, right? A polite gesture. But what if we told you it's actually a massive biological data exchange happening right under your nose?
Literally under your nose, as we're about to find out.
Exactly. You think you're just being friendly, but your brain is like running a full-on chemical analysis.
Full risk assessment, really.
So for this deep dive, we're pulling from some pretty serious scientific research. We've got studies mentioned in The Guardian, some key work from the Beckman Institute for Advanced Science and Technology.
And we're going to connect those findings to some broader cultural observations about touch that are surprisingly relevant.
Our mission today is to figure out why. Why does this quick little touch cause such immediate changes in your brain? We really want to unpack the unconscious scent transfer, especially between men and women, because that's where it gets...
But really interesting.
It really does.
Okay, let's unpack this. So the first thing to get your head around is just how fast this all happens. I mean, the moment two hands connect, it's like a sensory shockwave.
A shockwave. You mean more than just feeling the other person's hand?
Oh, way more. Researchers watching this saw immediate tiny changes in the face, micro expressions you wouldn't consciously notice, and, real measurable shifts in brain activity instantly.
So your brain is already reacting before you've even finished saying hello. I want to jump to what I think is the wildest part of the source material, this hidden olfactory function.
Absolutely. This is the real core of it. The research shows that humans, all of us, unconsciously sniff our hand after a handshake.
We sniff our own hand.
We do. And we don't even know we're doing it. The brain is actively, storing and analyzing the scent it just picked up from the other person.
Okay, but the sources say this effect is bigger, I guess, when the handshake is between a man and a woman. Why? I mean, a hand is a hand, right?
Well, yes and no. The neurological response is definitely greater, more intense when it's cross-sex. And part of that is down to physical differences.
Like, female hands are generally smaller.
That's part of it, sure.
Yeah.
But it's more about the skin itself. The distribution of certain skin cells, the ones that carry your unique scent signature, is different between men and women.
So the chemical package being delivered is different depending on who you're shaking hands with.
Exactly. A female hand leaves a different kind of chemical impression on the brain than a male hand does. The brain isn't just processing hand, it's processing that specific type of hand and the unique chemical signature that came with it.
Wow, okay. And this is where the visual evidence comes in, right? The researchers didn't just look at brain scans, they were actually filming people.
They were, and what they saw was fascinating.
So what did they see? What were the behaviors?
The biggest tell was this unconscious face touching, especially from women after shaking a man's hand. She'll shake hands, and then a moment later, she might briefly touch her cheek or her hair.
And that's a way of bringing the scent closer to her nose for like a better sample.
That's the theory, a deeper analysis. But here's where it gets even stranger.
Okay.
The brain is so thorough that the whole process extends to the other hand, the one that didn't do any shaking.
The clean hand? Why? What's the point of smelling the hand that didn't touch anything?
It's a comparison, a control sample.
A control sample, like in a lab.
Precisely. Your brain is running a little forensic test. The shaking hand has the evidence, the new scent from the other person, but to understand that evidence, it needs a baseline.
And the baseline is your own scent, which is on your non-shaking hand.
Exactly. It's comparing the new scent against your own. The brain is asking, how different is this person from me? And this all happens in a split second, totally unconsciously.
It's incredible. So every single handshake is this complex, hidden data validation loop.
And according to that 2015 article in The Guardian, the data can be, pretty vital.
Right. The research suggested we can pick up on things like fear or even illness through this exchange.
Yes. So it's not just a social thing. It's a primitive biological risk assessment tool that's still running in the background. We are hardwired to sniff out threats and opportunities.
It's amazing. Now, even with all this unconscious risk assessment happening, we should probably remember the main point of a handshake is still positive, right?
Oh, absolutely. And the sources are clear on that. That 2012 study from the Beckman Institute really grounds us here. It found, on a conscious level, a handshake is all about building trust and strengthening social bonds.
Let's have good faith.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But that unconscious data transfer is still happening in the background. And that led to, I think, the most specific study in our sources.
This is the one that started from a religious observation, right?
It did, yeah. The researcher looked at the Jewish religious prohibition from the Torah against touch between men and women who aren't closely related, non-mahram touch.
So a Jewish researcher decided to test the biological reality behind that rule, and what did he find?
Something pretty astonishing. He found that men spend a noticeably longer time unconsciously smelling their hand after shaking a woman's hand compared to shaking another man's.
Longer, so the brain is spending more time on the analysis. It's flagging the data as more important somehow.
That's what it suggests. It's dedicating more processing power to that specific chemical signature.
So how does that signature even get there so strongly?
It's actually quite simple. The research points out that, throughout the day, women might unconsciously touch their face, their hair, their neck.
Okay.
And in doing so, their hands collect all these personal residual scents, pheromones, other chemical signals. And then during the handshake,
that scent gets transferred directly onto the man's hand. It's like a tiny, involuntary chemical sample.
Precisely. And the sources document the potential effects of that sample. It can potentially lead to sexual arousal.
Wow.
And it can also stimulate a competitive instinct, which you see more obviously in the animal kingdom when males detect a rival's signals.
And this isn't a one-and-done thing. The brain actually stores this information.
That's right. The scent gets logged, it's stored as a memory, and when the man sees that woman again, the brain retrieves it.
Yeah.
The sources suggest this chemical memory can increase the desire to communicate and, potentially lead to a relationship the social rules might forbid.
The unconscious biology is complicating the conscious social ritual.
It really is.
This seems like a good time to talk more specifically about pheromones, because it's not just a generic personal scent, is it?
No, not at all. Pheromones are the active chemical messengers here. One of the other studies noted that female sweat, particularly from non-related or strange women, can be a powerful arousal trigger for men.
So pheromones are basically these substances the body makes specifically to attract the opposite sex.
In simple terms, yes. They're a form of chemical communication. They vary a lot from person to person, and we're often not even aware we're detecting them. They bypass the conscious part of our sense of smell and go straight to the parts of the brain that control emotion and instinct.
And of course, if nature makes something that powerful,
commerce will bottle it. Yes.
Yeah, they're manufactured now.
They are. Synthesized and mixed into perfumes, often with the specific goal of amplifying that natural effect and stimulating those same unconscious pathways in the male brain.
Okay, so since our sources directly connected these biological facts, the scent transfer, the arousal to social rules, we need to report on the specific cultural observations they included. And we need to be, completely impartial about it.
Absolutely. The source material points out that because of this scientifically observed potential for temptation, Islamic tradition encourages handshakes only between men or only between women, not between men and women.
It's presented as a kind of social firewall to mitigate the biological effects we've just been talking about.
That's the context given. And the sources use some very strong language to emphasize how seriously this is taken.
They really do. There's that one quote.
Yes. The prophetic warning that's cited is, "For one of you to be stabbed in the head with an iron needle is better for him than to touch a woman who is not lawful for him."
Which really underlines the perceived danger of that initial physical contact, linking the biology of attraction directly to the risk of social transgression.
And that idea extends beyond touch to intentional scent, like perfume.
Right. The source material also brings up the prohibition against women wearing strong perfume in public, specifically if the intention is for men to smell it.
It does. It quotes the saying, "Any woman who wears perfume and passes by people so that they find her scent is an adulteress, and every eye is adulterous." It really frames olfactory stimulus, whether it's unconscious from a handshake or intentional from perfume, as this incredibly powerful driver that requires social regulation.
So if we connect all this to the bigger picture, what we've really learned today is that a handshake is, at its core, a data exchange, a really complex one.
It is. It goes so far beyond a simple gesture. It involves these deep, almost primal, biological and neurological responses. The research really proves that scent is far more critical to how we interact, how we form memories, than we consciously realize.
So what this all means for you, the listener, is that this tiny, everyday ritual carries this profound hidden weight. The handshake is doing two jobs at once. Consciously, you're building trust.
But unconsciously, your brain is collecting data on risk and attraction. That little touch is influencing your subconscious decisions long after you've let go.
Your brain is running a chemical background check on every single person you meet.
Which brings us to a final interesting question. one about how science and faith intersect. The source material pointed out something I found pretty powerful. It was about how these discoveries are received.
Okay.
Well, the Jewish researcher we mentioned, who based his whole study on a premise from the Torah, he was able to publish his findings about the sniffing time globally. No one really criticized him for it.
That seems like a positive thing, science confirming an ancient observation.
It does. Yet, the source noted that when other researchers try to prove the scientific validity of similar laws from an Islamic perspective, they often face resistance, even accusations of being backward, sometimes from within their own communities.
Even though the underlying biology is identical.
Exactly. The powerful unconscious chemistry of the handshake doesn't change based on culture or religion. It makes you wonder, how much our own cultural biases influence which scientific discoveries we're willing to accept and which ones we dismiss out of hand. Something for you to ponder next time you reach out to shake one.